Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's segment of Athletics LLC. I just want to first get an update from not BLC on how our girl Big League's doing.
She's doing spectacularly. She's feistier than ever. Anxious to get back on the show. So I think there may be an appearance here in a week, 2 weeks at the most. I don't think that Dr. Huffins will clear her for an entire show for a little while, but I think in a week or two she'll be allowed a cameo appearance.
A cameo appearance. All right, we will anxiously await that appearance. And as always, we have with us the governor, and Clyde, King of Petty, is hiding in there somewhere as he wanted everybody to see his wonderful new announcement that he's very excited about, in addition to his coaching staff. So
I'm having a great week.
Awesome. That is great news, my young
That's
friend.
a lot of medals added to the staff.
Yes, it is. Okay, so let's dive right in. So we are currently halfway through the collegiate football season. Who are your favorites to win the P5 conferences? And so I'll make it easy. Let's start with the ACC. Who you guys' choice to win the ACC, and why?
Who's going first?
Well, you spoke up, so therefore you're nominated.
Okay, all right. I'll have to go with Florida State. They are, they're probably, in my opinion, going to be the most battle-tested by the end of the season. Obviously, they've got some tough games ahead of them, but they passed the eye test as far as I'm concerned. Going into Clemson and beating Clemson is no easy feat. Winning that first game against LSU, that was huge. I think if they were going to show, chinks in their armor, we would have seen it by now. Okay. I think they're a well-oiled machine now, and I think they have a chance to run the table.
Okay. All right. Not BLC, what you got for us?
Trying not to talk over BLC. Yeah, the ACC is almost always going to come down to Florida State or Clemson, and since Florida State just beat Clemson, I'm going to just default to that one pretty easily. Florida State actually looks relatively good. The ACC looks relatively weak. So I don't think that they're going to slip up, and they would probably have to slip up twice. As long as Mario Cristobal is out here giving away football games, I think we'll be good.
Low blow.
Listen.
Wow.
It is not a low blow when you set history. It's
man.
the only football game ever lost by a team that had 0% chance of losing.
Okay. So King of Petty. So you just locked it up. My God.
If he didn't go there, I was going there.
Oh man.
Let's be clear. Today, while we are shooting this, it is Wednesday. I don't remember anybody being announced fired from the staff at Miami on Monday.
Man. Okay.
Somebody.
All right.
I don't know who. Somebody should have lost their job over that one. Somebody.
And who's going to win the ACC?
So it probably should be Florida State. But because I root for chaos, I'm going to give you the outside. This is one of the conferences where there's some outside things that can happen. North Carolina. North Carolina is capable of beating Florida State. And I will leave it there for now.
Okay.
Can Notre Dame win the ACC in football?
No.
Okay, I always get confused as to where they are. But okay,
here's what's actually crazy. Louisville, North Carolina, and Florida State do not play each other in the regular season this year.
Right.
So it's conceivable and that they could run the table in the conference and then it comes down to whatever. I don't know what the requirement will be to to determine the champion or who goes to the championship game. But you want to talk about chaos, Clyde? Oh my gosh,
that is exactly what I'm rooting for. That they all stand defeated, and we get to expose some more nonsense of college football processes.
Yes. But I mean, you look at Florida State's schedule: Syracuse, Duke, Wake, Pitt, Miami. I don't even know North Alabama.
Sure.
And Florida. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Okay, so we'll spin the wheel here and we'll move on to the Pac-12.
The last ride, the last dance.
The you know what? I'll go first on this one. Why not? The Pac-12. I don't think there's a question. The Pac-12 is the hardest conference to win this year. I'm not even sure why this particular year everybody decided to be really good at football, but there's a lot of really good football in the Pac-12 this year nationally. It's not the usual where it's good and nobody gives it props. Like even staunch SEC folks are like, there's some problems out west. I am going to tenuously pick Oregon, but I think I saw a thing this weekend. Oregon has either 5 or 6 currently top 20 ranked teams left on their schedule.
Let me roll it out for you.
And so does USC.
Yes.
And so does Washington.
Oregon has Washington State, Utah, Cal, USC, or Arizona State, and they finish up with Oregon State. Are you kidding me?
And I think, isn't the Utah game at Utah?
They're playing at Utah.
Yeah.
They got to go to the mountain.
And just, look, I like to enlighten people. Utah has the second greatest win percentage at home of any Division I football team in the last 5 years. Nobody's making it up. It's really hard to win there. I don't know what it is about the flight to Salt Lake, but it's hard to win there. But I'll pick Oregon.
Yeah. Governor?
I have to go with Oregon as well. I mean, I was thinking USC, but USC has at Notre Dame. Utah comes to their place. They go to Cal, Washington, Oregon, and UCLA. I mean, I have to.
But their schedule sounds better than Oregon's, though.
It does. It does.
They got to use your path than Oregon does, I think.
Yeah, they do.
See, and here's the key. It's like this is where the Pac-12 to get a representative in the dance. Somebody's got to come up and just stand up and roll through the conference.
Yes,
they have to.
There's a much bigger chance that there's a one-loss Pac-12 team.
I mean, a one-loss Pac-12 team absolutely would have a great show.
Yes,
should have a great chance.
Yes.
So what we can't do is start this 2-loss. no 2-loss.
Bruised and battered.
Any conference.
I'm sorry, sir. The only 2-loss people to get entertained are in the SEC. Anyway.
It's never happened, sir.
What? It's never happened.
See, never happened. Look, do I need to re-school you? This has never happened.
And here we go.
I want you to stop it with the foolery. It has never happened.
Oh,
because you're that kid in the back of the room that thinks he knows everything and is not paying attention. I went through this year by year with you last year. It has never happened.
I said,
what's the next conference?
2-loss. This never happened, and it never will happen.
Oh boy, I love
never
it.
So to answer the question,
yeah, please answer the question and stop with the foolishness. Gee,
it has been well established for about 20 years. It is possible to run the gauntlet in the Pac-12. This year will be no different. There's no way any of these teams, Utah already took a loss, USC, Oregon, Washington, hell, Oregon and Washington playing this weekend.
Yep.
No one is running the Pac-12 table. Having said that, I believe the best team is Oregon, top to bottom. I'm not really convinced that they're going to be able to go into Seattle and beat Washington. but I believe Oregon.
That's this weekend, right?
That's this weekend.
That's this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did not Oregon run the table in the Pac-12?
They're the only team in the past 25 years. They did it once.
Wow.
So it's doable.
It is doable. I will say this: what Oregon has in front of them, it might be as hard as there is a thing to do in college football, because they have to win. They have to win at Washington, win at Utah, obviously win all the rest of the games, and then more than likely beat SC in a championship game.
Yep.
Right. SC has a lighter path, but I mean, like, if you, as you alluded to last week, Oregon is playing as good a football as anybody in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a team out there that can do it, Oregon is very capable of doing it. I'm not saying that it'll happen, but they're coming off a bye week, so that helps them with the Washington situation.
I'll tell you who's not doing it. USC is overrated, people. Caleb Williams can be amazing, and the team can be overrated. USC ain't it.
Okay. So we're going to move on to the Big 12.
They still play football there?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, boy.
They play football. They just don't play defense.
Right.
I
guess I got
what you got for us. Yeah, you do.
Unfortunately, first of all, shouts out to Oklahoma.
Oh, there you go.
Made me smile. Made me smile all day. Loved every minute of that nonsense. I don't think Oklahoma can do it twice. And with the way the Big 12 is, it'll be a rematch between Oklahoma and Texas on another neutral field. And I feel like Texas will find a way to beat them the second time. Doesn't mean that they belong in the dance, but it's Texas, so they'll probably get
it. I'm going to relish the time when the rankings come out that matter, and I once again tell you who's going to be the Final Four teams, and you disagree with me, as you always do.
I may not.
I will school you again, no problem.
Oh man,
Go ahead. I'm gonna let the governor go last in the Big 12 because that seems to be his
that's his territory.
Listen, the Big 12, Texas is going to win the Big 12 for all of the reasons that Clyde just mentioned. Oklahoma is hot. They won the Red River rivalry because, in all honesty, I think it means more to them, and it kind of always has. But for them to win out with a marginal offense, and then by that time of the year to beat Texas again at a neutral site, and let's be clear, the neutral site is going to be 88% burnt orange.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The neutral site is, right here in my backyard, and there'll be 9 million Texas fans. Texas may beat Oklahoma by 3 touchdowns in that game.
Yep.
Wow.
Like, at the end of the day, by that time of the year, I think Texas is probably going to slap Oklahoma to sleep. The problem everybody has is if Texas doesn't lose for the rest of the season, and neither does Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma loses to Texas in the Big 12, then the whole world has a problem, because then you got 2 Big 12 teams with 1 loss, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that except Clyde.
I absolutely can't wait for that.
Okay.
I'm seeing some unity here. I feel it. I feel the love. That game was quite, like if you ever had to think about, okay, did Texas lose a game or did Oklahoma win the game? And you look at the decisions that were made coming down to the wire, there were decisions made that lost the game. And it was not about whether Texas or Oklahoma was better than Texas. Texas lost that game, in my opinion, my humble opinion. So you look at the rest of the schedule, I think Texas wins out. And I think it's whoever wants to come up and meet Texas in that championship game. And I mean, they will probably, go back and say, damn, I mean, we could have, should have, but I think there will be a 1-win, 1-loss Texas team in the playoff.
Let's go with the SEC.
Ooh.
And I will say this about the Big 12. I absolutely see a world where Texas runs the table and it wins out and gets into the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
And Oklahoma is playing at such a high level early. The question for me is, can they maintain that?
Yes.
Can they maintain that at that level? And that's my same question with Oregon and the Pac-12. Oregon is playing very, very good football. But
Mm-hmm.
can they hold that level of excellence throughout the rest of the year? All right, so SEC time, and I think, Governor, you're back to being first.
Yep. So I think the worst fears of the SEC, the folks that are hoping for some parity or whatever, I think the worst fears came true last week. I think we finally saw the Georgia that is absolutely scary, that is absolutely dominant and just stomping people. And I mean, dare I say it, I mean, we're looking at, this would be the first three-peat, right? Ever?
If it happens, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you win a game and you elicit a response from Coach Stoops, for him to go on national TV or in front of the cameras or whatever and say what he said, I mean, oof.
Yeah.
Like you're feeling some kind of way, right? And yeah, I think it's Georgia and everybody else.
Okay. Not BLC.
I mean, yeah, the SEC is in a very interesting place. Georgia is at peak Bama level, and the rest of the SEC is not good.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just the honest to God truth. The second best team in the SEC is probably Alabama, and they're just not
probably
that good.
They are.
They are.
They're just not that good. Like in comparison, like when I say that they're a good football team, but we're used to dominance, and they're not that. And the rest of the SEC,
they're not your uncle's Alabama football team.
Yeah, the rest of the SEC falls off rapidly.
Yep.
And so
I think there's some other competent teams in the league. They're not trash. Kentucky's a competent football team. Tennessee's a competent football team.
Georgia is light years.
Texas. No, we're not debating that. We're just not. I'm just saying that the rest.
No,
of
I was answering your question. I
Georgia,
hadn't finished my answer. I mean, I just think that the only way Georgia loses a game until we get to the playoff is boredom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like just the kids not being locked in because they know they're so much better than the people they're playing. That's the only way that they could lose a football game between now and the playoff. Because even the SEC championship game ain't going to be much of a game.
Mm-mm.
If it ends up being them in Alabama, it'll be a better game than you think it'll be.
I think Georgia runs the table again, as they've been in a very mediocre conference. I don't really think it's going to be all that difficult. I have one question for the panel. It's a serious question before we get to the Big Ten. Listen, if I was ever, if it feels like the mood is right to ask this question to the panel, because any other year I know what the answer is, right? If it all comes down this season to a somehow, some way, 1-loss Georgia SEC champion and a 1-loss Pac-12 champion, who goes?
Well, it won't come down to that.
What if it did?
Okay. Hold on a second. You're creating a scenario that makes no sense.
It makes
So
no sense.
when's Georgia losing this game?
I'm just saying, if they
So
somehow
Georgia's gonna
got
lose.
bored,
They're gonna lose. Okay. So
they got bored.
okay.
Lost
So
The only way
But
that
one-
could happen, Clyde, they'd
okay,
have to
okay.
lose like in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yes.
you
Right.
said got bored.
Right.
Mhm.
What I'm saying is like even
so
if
at
they,
the end
even
of
if
the
they lose
day-
the SEC championship game, it isn't going to matter.
if they
What,
lose,
they don't
lose
if they
between
lose
now
that
and
game, they're getting in. Yeah, they're getting in if they lose the SEC championship game because they've been number one the whole year.
Yes.
So that's easy. That's
Right.
happened.
It
So
won't come to there's no way it comes down to that because just on conference power rankings, it will be Pac-12, Big 10, SEC, Big 12. Like no matter how you slice it, that's what the conference power rankings will be, even in a down SEC.
Yeah, because the ACC is going to get shut out.
The ACC
Yep.
is trash.
Unless Florida State goes undefeated, then they're guaranteed to get. See, there's the team with the problem. If they lose a game, there's the conference.
The governor
Exactly.
understands my question.
No, he doesn't. We all understand your
We
question.
all
is just
understand what your question is. Listen,
See, you want to establish this SEC bias thing, and we're not going to do that tonight.
Oh,
You just did it.
Because
Clyde,
we
this is
didn't.
this is
tried
the
to.
one year that there's a very
So-
legitimate chance for there to be 2 Pac-12 teams in.
mm-hmm.
No way.
Absolutely,
Never
because Oregon and SC
If Oregon and
they
SC
can
ran
run the tables until the Pac-12 championship game.
Yes.
Now, I didn't say
and
it's
the
going to
loser
happen.
of that game.
This is the only time that
because
could happen.
because it also could clearly happen in the Big Ten.
Yep.
Oh, it's much more likely to happen in the Big Ten.
Oh no, it's definitely not much more likely to happen in the Big Ten because Michigan and Ohio State play each other.
Sure, I get that.
But Ohio State lost last year to Michigan and still got in. That's what I'm saying. It could happen again this year if they both run the table. Ohio State loses in the regular season. Michigan dominates the championship game.
Exactly.
They both go.
They both
Like last year. But see, that's all predicated on the other conferences fumbling the bag, showing up with 2 losses.
Mm-hmm.
There's the caveat. 2 losses. Can't get in with 2 losses. It's possible. So, anybody else got to talk about the Big Ten, or are we done with the Big Ten?
Is everybody just taking Michigan because Ohio State is a pretender?
I'm taking Michigan as well. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that's really funny. I'm definitely taking Ohio State.
Ooh.
Ah,
I don't believe in. Okay, do y'all not remember my rant last year? I will never believe in Jim Harbaugh ever.
You did say that.
Okay.
You did.
not believing in Harbaugh in the playoff is one thing. He's proven he can take out Ohio State.
Once.
Twice.
He proved it twice.
2 years in a row. I say with a dagger in my heart.
It was 2 years in a row, but
Oh, trust me, I know.
You won't do it 3 times in a row.
And every Michigan fan in my family lets me know that every chance they get. Trust me.
Oh man.
I'm not buying it. I mean, listen, I think this Ohio State team is probably as flawed of a team as they've had in like the last 7 or 8 years. But at the end of the day, this is the same Michigan team. Like this Michigan team is built the same way as all the other ones have been built.
Here, another question for you, not BLC. It's easy to take shots at Harbaugh. You believe in Ryan Day?
No, that's what I just said. I literally just said I don't believe in Ryan Day, but I believe in the 2 programs' DNAs. Right? Ohio State recruits more athletic kids. Okay. Michigan recruits kids that play specific professional positions incredibly well. Does that make sense?
It does.
Right. So at the college age, the Ohio State kids have a better chance of winning. Now, if you ask me which program I want to recruit from, if I'm an NFL team, I want all of Ohio State's skill position players, and I don't want anybody else on Ohio State's team.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll take every single guy on Michigan's offensive and defensive line, all of them, because they'll all play in the NFL.
Okay, we're gonna get off the Big Ten.
All right.
Now, so we kind of alluded to this a little bit last week. The combination of the transfer portal and the NIL seems to be changing the landscape of college football in terms of stacking talent. Do we think this trend will continue in regards to football? And do you think it will start to have an effect in other sports at the collegiate level? And see, I'm gonna. Well, he's talking, so I'm not gonna get not BLC to go first. So I guess maybe I'll have to get the governor to go first on this
one. So we're living it, right? And I think what we're seeing right now is this dichotomy between the coaches that are sticking to their model, trying to stack young high school talent, getting the best of the best out of high school. You know, wait your turn. We have our roster. We have our, you know, your third string or whatever. You'll wait your turn. Da da da. NIL and the portal is blowing that out of the water, in my opinion. And the question that has to be asked of those coaches that are currently using that model is, how much time is your AD going to give you? How much time is your AD going to sit there and on his hands and go, okay, that's 2, 3, or 4 loss seasons in a row, but we're seeing a change. They're starting to mature. They're starting to get better. That's not the landscape of college football now. It is not. And the longer that these coaches wait for these kids to grow up, the more that you're finding, whether it's the Georgias of the world or whatever teams that are going out and literally handpicking, and they're sitting here waiting on these windows to open up and go, okay, I need a top tier DB. I need a top tier guard. I need a top tier, and they are bringing those kids into the fold,
right?
Paying them, right? And they have the mix. So you have the mix of the young and the older, the more, and you're trying to make sure.
So to your point here, is like kind of what the question's about. Like, but haven't we seen other schools like the Dukes, the Louisvilles, the Kentuckys? Even though he said he didn't get portal players, he got portal players.
Yeah.
Other schools that have rebuilt and look. Like, let's look at Colorado. It's the best example out.
Absolutely.
So we've seen other programs rebuild quickly. They may not be getting the same caliber of athlete,
right?
But they're getting better athletes. And so even though some schools might still be in a stack, when people want to play, they can go, hey, I'm going to school X to play, or I'm going to school X to win. Yep. So my question is, okay, we're seeing it in football.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? So not BLC. Are we seeing this in baseball yet? What's the deal with baseball in that?
Yeah, like, so a bunch of us have said it, but Deion's going to be the most famous for saying it because of the platform, and he said it in multiple interviews. Unless the NCAA actually writes in a legislation that protects high school talent, we are very much going to get to a point at the Power 5 level where high school kids are left to walk on, because it doesn't even make financial sense to sign a high school kid that you believe is going to be able to survive at the collegiate level versus a kid in the portal who's already in college and already shown you that they can be successful at that level. And so, yes, it's definitely like the portal has taken over in baseball. Like, literally, there are almost no freshmen that start at Power 5 schools. And if they are, it's because they are too good to be in college in the first place. They should have been pros and turned down money, or they couldn't get the money that they wanted in the draft, so they ended up in college. But they're like those kids we're talking about that start now in college baseball that are freshmen, they're grown men. Like, these kids are like 18 years old who are 6'3", 215 and hit the ball, 115 off the bat. but like your normal prototypical, 6'2", 175, got to get in the weight room, put weight on them, but they're really skilled. That kid is starting at some junior college now, or is accepting that a starting role at a lesser Division I is better than the JUCO route, because it's going to happen the same way. They're going to go play at a non-Power 5, ball out. Those numbers will be recognized, and then they'll transfer to LSU or Florida or Tennessee or whatever. I don't want to pick on the SEC because it happens in every Power 5. So I mean, TCU, Vanderbilt, you name it, they're all signing. Like every Group of 5 baseball school is now a farmland for the Power 5s, and the coaches know it, to be honest, because they don't even have any recourse.
Well, and I think that's the same issue we have in track and probably some of the other sports as well. Is like there's more kids in the portal than there are scholarships.
Yeah, way more.
And so there's some of the schools that are trying to develop and get it figured out. They play the game, they wait, and then at the end there's some pretty good talent in the portal, and they're using that talent to help them get better. So I mean, I agree that was, I think, the major point of the question is what it's doing to the high school level athlete and their recruitment, because now the guy that's 10-5 out of high school used to be a hot commodity. It's like, well, I'll go wait and find me a 10-3 guy in the portal.
Exactly.
Well, I think before we talked about this, right? And I said the biggest issue that the high school kids and their parents have is this: what is really good in high school hasn't really changed, right? A 10-4 kid has always been really, really good in high school. They still are. But the problem is what's really good in college has escalated.
Absolutely.
Leaps and bounds, right? So now you have 10-2 kids in college that understand that they're not a full scholarship kid necessarily on the Power 5 school they want to go to, right? So they will transfer to that school for less than a full, but you're not getting the high school kid that runs 1038 for less than a full, right? So the Power 5 coaches are like, well, why would I pay for that?
Right.
Like I can get better at the collegiate level for less. And that's the problem that happens for all the high school kids and their parents.
That's right.
So Clyde, you and I have, I want to hear what you have to say, because I'm way more interested in the track part of this than anything. It's what it's done in football is leveled the playing field, and that is obvious. And it was created for football, and it is doing what the irony is. I don't think anybody understood how quickly money and the Wild Wild West would level the playing field, because the halves were like, whatever y'all do, we're gonna be us, and then a Deion shows up with money and swag, and it's like, oh, actually we can level this a lot faster than y'all think we can. And Deion's team isn't the good team. It's what's going on in Oregon and Oregon State and Washington, right? So I'm here for the leveling of the playing field, because again, the stockpiling of recruits and the narratives that get built around that were insane. So I'm here for it in football. I feel bad for the high school kids, period. It sucks.
I do.
It absolutely sucks.
I do.
It really does.
California lifted our travel ban so we can go to all our states that we want to go to now and talk to kids. I talked to high school kids and high school coaches in the last couple of weeks that, to be honest with you, a San Jose State 5 years ago would have no chance to even talk to these people. But they're not being seen. They're not getting the attention that they rightfully deserve, because everybody is, to not BLC's point, shopping the portal, the proven commodities in the portal. It's a faster avenue to do what you need to get done. Now, the funny thing is, and I think this is a mistake, because let's be clear, there's only so many, respectfully, Floridas out there in the world, right? There's only so many of those type of places that everybody and their mama clamors to go to.
Right.
Lucius can't sign everybody, right? Though he tries. So it's cool. It's what you're supposed to do, brother. So
everybody, okay.
So the issue is, for me, people like the governor, people like myself, too many coaches in our space are trying to play the same game that you're always going to lose at.
Yep.
If the majority is shopping the portal for the new talents and you think you can go into the portal and get the talent, you weren't the first choice originally. You're not going to be the first choice now.
No.
So this is a great opportunity for people like us to put real attention back on the high school kids. And if you can coach and if you can develop, don't start handing me 10-4 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let me do that. Because if you let me do that, you're going to have a very serious problem a lot faster than you think you're going to have. And so that's why we've done so well in California, because while everybody was playing the portal game, I'm invested in the high school game.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people are doing that right now. But there's opportunities to do that. And I think, I'm okay with the idea that I'm a mid-major, I'm a small school. And if I take, phenomenal high school talent X and get him to drop a bomb, that he might chuck the deuces and head on off to what he feels to be bigger, better things. I'm cool with that. I'm good with that. I'm willing to take that risk, knowing that what we have to offer here might just be enough to make them stick. But if they go, they go. And then I get to point to the next crew and be like, hey, well, yeah, they went off for the big label, but don't get it twisted. That drop that you saw, that wasn't them, that was us. So why don't you come on in here and do that? Well, and I'm cool with that.
You know what's funny? Can I jump in here one
yeah, go ahead.
Thing really quick? What's funny is if you look at Clyde's situation, locale, and personality, he actually is, pardon the pun, primed for a Colorado prime type move. If somebody in Silicon Valley decides they want their alma mater to be great in track, right? The money is definitely there. The school and the program already has the term Speed City, right? Like, he didn't make that up. It existed before he got there.
Yes.
Right? Like, in today's world where kids only know what happened 5.5 minutes ago, like, for real, if somebody showed up, if some San Jose State alum decided, you know what, we're going to be like Colorado and we're going to be great in track, they could throw a whole lot of money at that program and it could change the landscape out west rapidly.
Sure. I'll take you one better. If somebody decided to take a little bit of that $200 million war chest that SMU is sitting on right now and put that in the track, I mean, it's, so I've never done it and I've never said it, but to sit in a kid's living room and say, hey, you know what? You wanted to go to school X? Why don't you start here? And push it that way. I've never done it. I've never really, pushed that narrative. But if the mentality of a non-Power 5 or a Group of 5 school coach, if the mentality is, well, the kid's going to leave when he gets good, should that stop you from getting that kid? It shouldn't.
Not gonna stop you at all. So at the end of the day, what it all comes down to is, like, you have to recruit to your strengths.
Yes. And
you have to find the path that's going to best afford you to get your program to be where you want it to be in the quickest way possible. Yes. And the portal is going to help that.
And the thing is, the coaches that are secure in themselves and secure in their ability are not going to be affected when their top dog leaves, because they're going to be able to use what they've done and the good work that they've done with that kid and go into the next household and say, hey, man, look at Tifers. The numbers speak for themselves. Okay. I mean, the kid moved on to greener pastures. God bless him. God bless her. but I want you to keep this going.
That's right.
Okay. So this past weekend, there was a celebration for our in Columbia, South Carolina, for our dear friend Coach Frye, who was, who retired suddenly back here late in the summer. So can each of you guys take a few minutes and just, talk about Coach Frye a little bit and talk about his career, maybe, or what he meant to you at some point?
Man, I'll start and Sir Lucius, you will you will appreciate this. I never really got a chance to be around Coach Frye that much. I mean, he did recruit me out at Cayman, and we talked, and he told me about his vision and all of that. But I will never forget the spread that he had set up at Auburn at SEC's. Do you remember that? The post meal that he had.
Oh yes, yes.
Holy cow! Like,
Yeah.
when I tell you, I mean that really, to me, like, and that's, we're talking about what, 2005, 2006?
No, it was,
That's 2000. When
yeah.
was it? Yeah,
No,
or
it was
07?
after it was after Quran and them, right? So it had to be like 07, 08.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember, because everybody's the meet's getting ready to be over or whatever, and they're sitting down and they said a prayer, they had a meal, and I'm going, okay, that tells me all I need to know about Coach Frye. That tells me all I need to know about, how he was able to assemble these teams in North Carolina, how he's able to, and the love and respect that his athletes had for him,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that moment, I mean, I just remember it, and it could have just been a glancing moment where I looked over and was like, huh, that's different. But at the same time, those kids were family to him.
Yes.
So I definitely
Absolutely.
appreciated that moment for sure.
All right, not BLC, what you got for us?
Ooh, well, let's see. I may have known him the longest.
Yeah.
Because I was on the junior team in 88, 89, and he was coach on my junior team that year.
Which team was this?
Junior Pan Ams. We went to maybe Argentina and Canada and the state
So
of
you
Washington.
did you go to Sudbury for World Juniors?
No. The World Juniors for Sudbury was 88, right?
Yeah, 88.
Yeah. I was still a senior in high school and not that good.
Okay.
But I bring that up not like as any sort of flex. It's to say this. My mother, so when I transferred in the following year, so that's in 1990, my mother talked to Coach Frye in 1990. She still asked me about him. So, that whole thought that when you're recruiting, you got to win the mom. Yeah, he did that.
Yeah.
And that was like 30 something years ago. So, that speaks to like who the man is and his ridiculous gift of gab.
Oh, man.
And my thing about Coach Frye is the one thing I learned from him at a very early age is you can do anything if you have a plan. Right? Because at the end of the day, to win a national championship at a place like South Carolina when they were still flying the Confederate flag on the state capitol building, and you have to drive past it to do anything on campus, and to do it and have the team look the way it looked.
Yep.
You had to have had a plan, and he executed said plan, and then coached the living crap out of those kids.
Yep.
So, I mean, for me, Coach Frye he's my frat brother, and that was awesome. But he's always been I guess founding father makes him too old, but for me, like in my life, in my track life, and I'm the old guy now, right? And I mean, not as old as some that are still doing it, but I mean, I'm definitely not young. He was like the first guy. Like if you were a young Black coach when I was coming through, Coach Frye was probably one of 2 or 3 guys you like wanted to like be and pattern yourself after and be successful like. And I, like him and his wonderful wife, Wilma, and their kids, like all of them are just amazing people.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he can coach track and has coached track and Olympians and medalists and all those things for a really long time, yeah, that's cool. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, whenever he actually walks away and like we don't see him, if he decides he's not going to coach anymore, we're gonna like the room will
You
be
do
all
understand
empty.
that's happened.
I know, but I just, listen, it's an Olympic year. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody decided they wanted him to coach him. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. Crazy things happen. All I'm saying is, whenever I actually show up to a room, and maybe it'll be this year's convention, but when I show up to a room where he usually would be the centerpiece, and he's no longer there, the room will be more empty than it was before.
Mm-hmm.
All right, King of Petty.
Not necessarily a petty space on this one. As the Gamecock alum here.
Yep.
My experiences with Coach Frye were different than almost any of you. Curtis Frye is a legend, and I think it is apropos to say that he achieved his legendary standing in this game doing it his way, right? Unapologetically doing it his way. My time as a Gamecock, that man challenged me in ways I did not expect, at times in ways I did not appreciate. And I know I challenged him in ways that he did not expect or appreciate it oftentimes. But no person in this business is more directly responsible for lighting the fire for me to be a coach than Curtis Frye. And so, in that space, I thank him for that. I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing at, the way I'm doing it, if not for the experiences and the times that I spent in, Columbia, South Carolina under his direction. And to know that somewhere along my path, which will probably never be as significant as his, to know that I earned his respect as a colleague is very important to me. And I would be lying if I ever pretended like there are very few legendary people in this business. And when one of them acknowledges you for your work, and when one of them accepts you as a colleague in their standing, it matters. And for me to come through that program and find my way into this profession, will always be something that I remember and something that I cherish about my own journey. And, it would be denialism to pretend that man and my time with him did not profoundly affect my life moving forward. And so, to see him, retired, like I said, there won't be another Curtis Frye. There just won't. And so, I wasn't able to attend the ceremony this weekend. We had business out west, but happy retirement, sir. You deserve it. Legendary, Hall of Fame, all of those things, and you did it your way. And we should all be lucky enough to land in that spot.
I'm going to be real, just direct to the point. Incredible recruiter, incredible coach, educator, the number of times, no matter what city we were in for nationals, he would find something historic to take his team to go visit and learn. But all that being said, he's a better man. Incredible family man, raised 3 incredible children, and as you guys alluded to, his wonderful wife, Miss Wilma, has been by his side the whole time. So I just thank you, Curtis, for blazing the trail, or helping blaze the trail, and leaving that for us to take care of it. We will take good care of it. So as we all prepare for the Paris 24 games, give me a matchup or an event on the men's and women's side next year that you think will be epic in the Olympic Games. Sure, Governor, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to so I'm going to be a homer here. I just
Which
want
side? Which side are you going on first, men or women?
men.
Okay, we'll start with the men. Okay.
I want to see the rematch of Tentaglu, Pinnock, and Gale. I want to feel good about the long jump again. I want to see 3 men going at it 850 plus. I want to see it come down to the wire. Like, it has been so long since we've seen the quality. Someone lay down an 850 and say, yeah, go ahead and get that. And then the Greek guy gets on his horse on his last jump and gets you by 2 centimeters. That is Mike Powell, Carl Lewis, Larry Myrick-esque. Those are the emotions that came out of me, watching him come down the runway. And the man, there was no doubt in his mind. And that's what we're trying to get back to, So, the resurgence of the men's long jump in Paris. I mean, I just hope the runway is as greasy as the one was in I just hope it is, because that was epic.
Okay, Clyde, what do you got for me on the men's side?
I know.
Much like KST is hoping for epic in long, I am really, really hoping that we get epic in the 400 hurdles. Yeah. That's what I want. It's what we need. We got it before. It's time to do it again. This time with an audience. All the principles are, still here. Everyone is relatively healthy at the end of this season. That I want that more than anything.
Yep.
Okay. Not BLC, what you got?
Just on the men's side, right?
Yeah.
Just on the men's side.
Just making sure. Oh man. I'm not like making this up as we go. I really have just been fighting back and forth for the better part of 2 days. So I'm just going to go with my first gut, because I've gone back and forth 50 times. Ryan Krauser versus, I can't even just say Joe Kovacs, but Ryan Krauser versus the world, but probably mainly Ryan Krauser and Joe Kovacs. Joe is the only one in the world that doesn't have to be convinced he can beat Ryan. Like, regardless of what has happened up into the Olympics, Joe will still feel after the qualifying round on the morning of the Olympic final that he is going to win. And I am here for that. I think there will be some other epic battles. I will at least say what I was vacillating between was that and Parchment and Flamingo.
It could be.
I don't know if it's going to materialize, but I'll say this: if it does, that might be the best show. If it does, that might be the best.
I'm not going to comment on that one, but I will comment on the fact that I'm just glad that you're giving Joe his props, because remember you didn't have him making the team a couple of years ago, but we'll keep that to ourselves.
I mean, that's why we have a show. That's why we have a show. It can't all be chalk.
And that clearly wasn't chalk. You know, I want to see the return of the epic 400 meters. We haven't had any high energy, high emotions since Wade took everybody to school in 16. You know, but you know, that was one. Is it Wade? Is it LaShawn? Is it Karani? You know, I think Makwala was hanging around. Like where's the 400 monster where if you don't run 43.9, you're not going to get a medal? I want to see that next year.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see next year. Okay. Now BLC, women's side.
I mean, can I cheat and say Faith versus the record books?
No.
I know. And I can't do. I want to do that in the women's triple jump too. But I mean, I almost feel like this is cheating, but honestly, it's the return of Sid versus whatever Miss Bowl. Look, people are not paying attention. Femke Bol has gotten better and better every year. I don't know that she's necessarily gotten closer and closer to Sid. I really don't. But I know that she's gotten better and better, which makes me believe she's going to be better next year. I don't know if that's going to mean anything. But I also don't know how bad Sid is hurt. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, the fact is that there's any ambiguity makes it exciting for me to watch, because both of those two athletes are amazing. So if it materializes, I'm popping popcorn to watch every round of that.
Even though Sid is unlikely to contest the event.
What are you talking about? Sid's going to run the 400 hurdles in the Olympics. You're smoking. Yes, she is.
All right.
I'll make a side bet with you off the air.
October 11th, 2023. Who's going on the record to say what? Clyde, you're saying she runs.
Sydney's going to run the 400 meters.
Okay.
I don't see a double coming.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so what epic event are you looking to, sir? King of Petty.
Oh, the pettiest event in the track and field right now, the women's 100. I root for Petty. There's no more petty event right now than the women's 100 meters.
Oh,
Shelly is still here. Sharika is on her mission. Elaine is pissed off and healthy. And Sha'Carri is the world champion. There's no more petty event. If you're a king of petty, you are here for the women's 100 meters.
Okay. Governor, what do you got?
Oh man. I'm gonna go to okay, so you took mine, Clyde, but for the exact same reasons. And specifically to see what Elaine has in store for 2024.
You know what Elaine has in store.
Because if you don't think that woman, that young lady, hold
on a second. Now you're violating the rules.
Why is that?
An event. You're talking about a lane. We need an event that you're looking forward to.
100.
All right, thank you.
Women's 100. All day, every day. Can't wait.
Okay. See, I'm going with the women's heptathlon.
Oh.
I think it's going to be absolutely epic next year.
Man, oh man.
I think there's going to be 4 major players. And honestly, I want it to come down to the 800. So, yeah, if I'm going to be petty, I want it to come down to the 800.
Oh, man.
But,
yeah.
Well, guys.
Now, but hold on now. You can't slide in there with the women's event. You ain't pick a men's event.
I did. I said the men's 400.
Oh, you said the 400. Okay.
Dang, you just love to come at my neck, see?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The men's 400 has just been so boring lately. I fell asleep.
And that's why I want to see, and rightfully so. You know, I mean, like, remember when you had to run 43 just to make our team, right?
Yep.
I want to get back to those days, man. And then, it drives me crazy.
Was like an 88. Like that's how good we used to be.
Right.
Man.
Like I think Andrew Vama's PR is like 44-20 something. He never made a team.
Never made a team.
Not an open, nope.
Not in the open. Never made a team.
Insane.
Yeah. Well, we absolutely thank you guys for tuning in again, and we hope that we entertained you as we tend to do on occasion. And we will wrap this up for tonight, and we will see you guys again in 7 days. Everybody be well.
Boy can't find the button.
I can't. Chew. I done messed up. Now I done lost the conversation.
It's still on.
I know. There it is. I can't find the
Hey, we got a cameo.
Hey!